Hello. Um, I just wanted to take some time today to make this video. Have some new subscribers, and I just wanted to introduce myself and kind of just tell you a little bit about how this page came to be. My name is Kara. I am the mother of twins. My daughter is medically complex, medically fragile, and my son also has special needs. So this is just kind of about our life and what we go through on a daily basis. So the way that this kind of came about is my daughter's in and out of the hospital quite a bit. And then it's just kind of like, how do we navigate life outside of the hospital walls? Like, how do we make that happen outside of the hospital walls? How do we keep her outside of the hospital? Because a lot of times, the things that she goes into the hospital for are things that probably technically can be done at home. But how do we do that? What does that look like? So she has a lot of medical equipment. I do a lot of procedures here at the house. So over the years, I've just, asked a lot of questions, taken whatever training I can get so that I can keep her home as much as possible, because honestly, she does not like being in the hospital, and I do not like her being in the hospital. So if we can be at home and be safe, that's where we would rather be. So that's kind of where this came to be. If you watched any of my shorts recently, you will see that she does everything that she can to try to get us back into the hospital. This past week has been very challenging for her and for us. On Monday morning, we woke up and I noticed that her sensor was gone for her continuous glucose monitor, which is really weird because she never messes with her sensor. She's been wearing it for a little over a year now, and she's never messed with it. She's never tried to take it off. She doesn't even touch it when she's wearing it. But this morning, when I got her up and was getting her ready for school, it was gone. So of course I checked where she was sleeping, didn't find it anywhere, so I knew that she had swallowed it, because that's pretty much how that goes with her. If she had something and you cannot find it anymore, and it's nowhere in the area, it's inside of her body, because that's just who she is. So I finished getting her ready for school, got her brother off to school, well, not ready for school, ready to go to the emergency room. Got her brother off to school. We went to the ER, and they never believe me when I say that she swallowed something. They're like, well, how do you know? And I'm like, okay, let's keep going back and forth about how do I know. Or we could just try to find out if she swallowed something. That's another option. But they finally said, okay, well, we'll do an x-ray. So they do the x-ray, and lo and behold, her sensor is in her stomach. But there are a few other foreign bodies in there as well that I did not know about. And at first, me and the doctor could not figure out what they were. So I'm looking at it, And I'm looking at the one thing, and I'm like, you know what that really looks like? That really looks like the cover battery case. You know, like little toys have like a little thing to keep the batteries on. And I was like, that's really what that looks like to me. And she's like, yeah, okay, I could see that. So she's calling GI, talking to GI, seeing what they want to do. She keeps looking at the x-rays, keeps looking at the x-rays, and she finally looks at a side view of the x-ray. And when she looks at the side view of the x-ray, she can clearly see that there are batteries. So she comes back to the room and she's like, I think they're batteries. She's like, I'm pretty sure they're batteries. And I was like, yep, you're right. I was like, you know what? I was like, that's exactly what those look like. And I was like, and I'll tell you what that is too. I said that looks like the cover for one of her little toys that she has. And I was just so flustered at that point because I was like, how in the world did this happen? Right? Because every time I let her have that toy, I'm very, very cautious with her. I check it before I give it to her. I check it after she has it to make sure that the cover is intact and that the batteries are inside there before I give it to her, after I give it to her, right? So I'm like, well, when could this have happened? I was like, because I know it didn't happen with me, right? So that leaves like school or I don't know. So so the doctor's like, well, do you know what size batteries are? I'm like, yeah, if it's the 12 I'm thinking of, they're AAA batteries. So we go back and forth about it. GI is like, well, they might want a scoper, they might not want a scoper. Then they decided they were going to do another. So while they were doing that, she pooped in the ER, and she pooped out the battery cover and her sensor, her glucose monitoring sensor. So she pooped those two things out. So then GI said, well, let's wait about 30 minutes and then let's do another x-ray and let's see where the batteries are. And that'll determine if we're going to take her into the OR or not. So we did that. Got the x-ray, and one of the batteries was moving down. The other one was not making any progress. So they said, we're going to go ahead. We're going to scope her. So we made our way downtown because there's a hospital locally that has a pediatric ER that we go to, but they don't ever admit my daughter. They always send her to the main campus. Always. They have specialists at that hospital as well, but they send my daughter to main campus. Possibly because she may need the PICU. But anyhow, they sent us downtown. We get down there. They get her going. They get her into the room. By the time they get her in there, they're able to get one of the batteries out. The other one had moved down into her intestines, so they couldn't get it. So we had to wait for that to come out the other end, which it did. So I was grateful for that. So that resolved. That was great. I did find out where the battery came from. There's a story for another day, because that's a little bit much, that one. So then Thursday morning, I sent her back to school. she was at school for about maybe 2 hours, 2.5 hours. And I get a call from her nurse, which is never a good thing. I don't ever want to get a call from her nurse. I don't want to get a call from the school at all regarding her during the day. It's never what I want to hear. But I do get a call from her nurse, and she's like, I think she swallowed something. And I was like, you have got to be kidding me. What in the world could she possibly have swallowed, and why would she do that? We just came back. So I said, okay, I'm gonna drive over there. I'm gonna come check out the situation. So I get there, and by the time I get there, they've already called 911. And this little girl is like sitting there, foaming at the mouth, gagging, and then her eyes start fluttering, and she's rocking back and forth. And I was like, oh my God, you've got to go. So the EMT, he's like, well, we would like to take her to the emergency room. I was like, well, go ahead and take her to the emergency room by all means. Like, I'm not going to stop you, please. Did you see her, like, coming in and out of consciousness? Let's go ahead and do this. So we get her to the ER, and they start doing their thing, and they swear they see something in the back of her throat, which is very common with her. Because she will try to swallow anything, a lot of the things that she tries to swallow are too big to go down. So it will get caught in the back of her throat, which was causing her to desaddle a little bit, which is why she was kind of like going in and out of consciousness a little bit, because it was kind of blocking her from breathing a little bit. So they decided to remove it in the ER. So rally up the team. Here we go again. We got everybody in the room. We got respiratory. We got anesthesiology. We got pharmacy. We got everybody except for ENT. They were not there. They weren't there this time. But they're all in the room and telling me what they're gonna do, and they start just like, okay, we're gonna try to get an IV. And I was like, oh, nope, we're not doing an IV. We're gonna access her port. And they was like, we don't have time for that. We need to do an IV. And I was like, the last time you tried to do an IV on her in this type of situation, you poked her 14 times. Now, I think that's going to take a lot longer than accessing her port. So we're going to access her port. So they, try to push back a little bit, but I pushed back a little bit stronger. And they did go ahead and access her port, got her port access, and they started pushing the anesthesia for her so that they could sedate her and get whatever was out of her throat. Turns out it was a piece of a toy that she had bit off. It looked like it had been cut with scissors because her little teeth are sharp and she's fast. So she had taken it and just bit it clean off. So luckily, it didn't go down into her airway. It was just kind of like at the back of her throat. So they were able to just pull it right out. So, excuse me, there was no big drama, no big damage to her airway, anything like that. So once the anesthesia wore off, then we got to go home. So that was last week. So she's at school again today. So before she went to school this morning, her and I had a little talk. And it said the only only thing that I want you to eat is your food. That's it. Please don't eat anything else. Don't swallow anything else. Please only eat your food. And she just looked at me like, lady, I don't know who you think you're talking to. I'm going to do what I do. And she does. She does and she will. So I am prayerful that she will have a good day today. That she will not ingest any more foreign bodies today. And that she will just, chill out a little bit for a while. Because, yeah, it's going to be a bit much. A bit much. But that is why she has the level of care that she has. So when she goes to school, she does go to a special needs school. She has a nurse that attends school with her, just to kind of help with all of her medical needs during the day, to monitor her glucose levels, to administer her feeds, to monitor her temperature, to make sure to monitor her ins and outs, to make sure she doesn't need a dose of her medicine to help regulate her sodium. So she is a complicated little girl. Once you get to know her, though, you kind of learn what to do with her, and learn her little signals and everything, and it's not such a big deal. But before you do, she kind of scares people a little bit. Actually, a lot of it. Most people get pretty terrified with her. One of the funniest things always is when she's inpatient and they have her, they're monitoring her heart rate. She gets very bradycardic when she's asleep. I'm talking about, we have her pulse ox machine at home set at 40. So she likes to sit right at 40, and she might drop down to 39. They come flying in their room. It's like, everything okay in here? I'm like, she's fine. She's sleeping. And I'm like, just look back through her chart. She always gets bradycardic when she's sleeping. Always. Are you sure? I'm sure. I'm certain. Yes, I'm very sure. So yeah, it'll be okay. Or they'll take her temperature, and her temperature will be 94. And I'm like, they're like, oh my God, she's 94 degrees. I'm like, that's not that bad. Her baseline temperature is like 95, like 95.5. I think 95.5, 96.5, so 94. She's getting a little cold. We definitely probably could put on a sweatshirt or something, put a blanket on her if she sleep. But it's not like a typical person whose body temperature is 98.7, and they're down to 94. That's just not her. That is just not her. That's not who she is. It's not at all who she is. So that's my little girl. And yeah. So anyways, if you like this kind of content, you want and what we do on the day-to-day, navigating through the doctor's appointments, the different therapies, just surviving as a medically complex family. Make sure to subscribe. And I will talk to you all later.